I never thought I'd be telling this story, but here I am, 52 years old, sitting in my Chicago kitchen with trembling hands wrapped around a cold cup of coffee, trying to make sense of what happened last summer. The steam disappeared long ago, just like the life I thought I knew. My name is Sarah Mitchell, 25 years married to Tom, a decent man who works in corporate finance, always buried in quarterly reports and client calls. Our son Jake just graduated from Northwestern with honors. Life was predictable, structured, safe, maybe too safe. Then Jake brought his college buddy Marcus home for the summer, and everything I thought I knew about myself crumbled like autumn leaves. Marcus Rodriguez, 25 years old, from San Diego, studying sustainable architecture. The moment he walked through our mahogany front door, the air in our pristine foyer seemed to shift. Tall and lean, with olive skin that spoke of California sunshine, dark hair that caught the afternoon light streaming through our crystal chandelier, and those incredible brown eyes, deep as rich coffee, warm as melted chocolate, that seemed to see right through the carefully constructed facade I'd worn for decades. But it wasn't just his striking looks that made my breath catch. There was an energy radiating from him, a passion for life that I'd forgotten existed, like he carried his own personal summer wherever he went. Mom, Marcus needs a place to crash for a few weeks while he figures out his post-graduation plans, Jake announced, dropping his friend's worn leather duffel bag on our spotless marble floor. The sound echoed through our perfectly appointed foyer like a stone dropped in still water. The guest room cool? Of course, honey. I smiled, slipping effortlessly into my role as the perfect suburban hostess. Marcus, welcome to our home. When our hands touched during introductions, his warm, calloused from honest work, surprisingly strong, I felt this little electric shock run up my arm like touching a live wire. His handshake was firm, confident, and when he smiled, it reached his eyes in a way that made something flutter deep in my chest. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mitchell, he said, his voice carrying just a hint of that California drawl that made everything sound relaxed. I really appreciate you opening your home to me. His smile was genuine, unguarded, and when he looked at me, really looked, not through me or past me like I was furniture, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years, seen. Like I existed as more than just Tom's wife, Jake's mother, a caretaker maintaining the suburban facade. Marcus proved to be the ideal house guest from day one, polite without being formal, helpful without being intrusive. Every morning I'd wake to the rich aroma of perfectly brewed coffee, dark roast with hints of vanilla and cinnamon, filling our usually sterile kitchen like an invitation to actually live instead of just exist. He'd ask about my day with genuine interest, leaning against our granite countertop in the soft morning light, actually listening to my answers with those attentive brown eyes. He remembered details from previous conversations that even my own husband had forgotten. The difficult client meeting, the garden project I'd mentioned, the book I was struggling to finish. How did that presentation go yesterday? He'd ask, stirring cream into his coffee with slow, deliberate movements. The one with the bride who wanted to redesign everything last minute. Small gestures, tiny moments of attention, but when you've grown accustomed to being invisible in your own life, small gestures feel monumental. Tom, predictably, barely acknowledged we had a guest. He'd grunt a hello to Marcus over his morning Wall Street Journal, mechanically consume whatever dinner I'd prepared while scrolling through work emails, then retreat to his home office or collapse in front of the television. Business as usual in the Mitchell household, where connection had been replaced by routine. 2 weeks into Marcus's stay, Jake received an unexpected call that would alter my entire summer. Mom, I gotta fly out to Seattle tomorrow morning, Jake announced, pacing our hardwood kitchen floor with nervous energy. This tech startup wants to interview me for a marketing position, in person, immediately. This could be huge for my career. That's wonderful, honey, I said, genuinely excited while trying to ignore how my pulse quickened at the implications. But what about Marcus? I feel terrible abandoning him here. Marcus looked up from his laptop where he'd been sketching architectural designs, fingers stained with pencil graphite. Don't worry about me, man. I can find a hotel, no problem. Absolutely not, I said quickly, too quickly, my voice carrying more urgency than warranted. You're welcome to stay as long as you need. We have plenty of space. Jake grinned, oblivious to any tension. See, my mom's the best. You sure you don't mind, Mom? Of course not, I replied, trying to steady my racing heartbeat. He's no trouble at all, and that's how it began. Just Marcus and me in this big house with its perfectly appointed rooms and carefully maintained silence. Balloon 2, The Awakening. The first evening alone together, we found ourselves drawn to the back porch as the sun painted the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The summer air was thick and languid, heavy with the intoxicating scent of jasmine from my neglected garden. Tom was in Denver on another business trip, as usual, leaving us wrapped in an intimacy I hadn't anticipated. Our wraparound porch had always been my sanctuary. White wicker furniture with soft blue cushions, hanging baskets of trailing petunias that I tended with more care than most of my relationships. But tonight, with Marcus settling into the chair beside mine, the familiar space felt completely transformed. He'd changed after his shower into a simple white cotton t-shirt that clung to his lean torso, paired with dark jeans that had seen better days but somehow looked perfect on him. His hair was still damp, curling slightly at the nape of his neck, and I caught myself staring at the elegant line of his throat. This is really peaceful, Marcus said, settling back with a tall glass of sweet tea, ice cubes clinking softly. I can see why you love it out here. Sometimes it's too quiet, I admitted, surprised by my honesty. Sometimes the silence feels like it might swallow me whole. He turned to study my profile in the fading light. I get that. Sometimes silence is just loneliness, wearing a disguise. The insight hit me like a gentle slap. This young man understood something about my life that I'd barely admitted to myself. You're wise for 25, I said softly. He laughed, a rich sound that resonated in my chest. My grandmother always said I was born with an old soul. I just pay attention to what people don't say. His eyes met mine. Like right now, you're sitting in this beautiful home, but you look like a bird trapped in a gilded cage. My breath caught. No one had ever read me so clearly. When's the last time you did something just for you? Something that made your heart race with excitement? I searched my memory and came up empty. I honestly can't remember. That's heartbreaking. Someone like you should be living passionately, not just existing. Someone like me. His eyes held mine steadily. Beautiful, intelligent, full of life that's waiting to break free. My cheeks burned. When had Tom last called me beautiful? Come with me, Marcus said suddenly, standing and extending his hand. Trust me. Against every rational thought, I took his warm hand and let him pull me. He led me across our perfectly maintained backyard to the center of the lawn, where he lay down on the grass, looking up at the emerging stars. When's the last time you really looked at the stars? He asked as I hesitantly joined him. Years? Probably. My grandmother used to say each star was a dream someone gave up on. She'd tell me, don't let your dreams become stars, keep them burning in your heart. I turned to study his profile in the starlight. What are your dreams, Marcus? I want to design homes that feel like sanctuary. and I want to matter to someone, really matter, not as arm candy, but as a true partner who sees all of me and chooses to stay. You will, some lucky girl. I don't want some lucky girl, he interrupted quietly. I want someone who understands that connection transcends convention. The air shifted, charged with possibility. I should have gone inside, but I stayed, drowning in his gaze. Sarah, he whispered, and my name sounded like a prayer. A dog barked in the distance, breaking the spell. I sat up abruptly, brushing grass from my clothes. We should go inside, I said, not looking at him. I hurried toward the house, leaving him under the stars, but I felt his eyes following me until I disappeared inside. Volume 3, The Choice. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, while Tom's empty pillow mocked me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Marcus's face in the starlight, heard his voice saying my name like it meant something sacred. The next morning, I found him in the kitchen, making pancakes, shirtless, wearing only gray pajama pants. My mouth went dry at the sight of his lean, defined chest. The domestic scene felt so intimate, it made my chest tight with longing. Morning, Sarah, he said casually, as if my world hadn't shifted completely. We ate together in golden sunlight, the pancakes incredible, but I was more aware of him across from me, the way he moved with unconscious grace, how he listened when I spoke about my abandoned graphic design dreams. You should start again, he said simply. Life's too short to abandon dreams for others' expectations. Later, working in the garden together, the summer heat became oppressive. When Marcus suggested cooling off with the hose, I should have maintained my composure. Instead, I found myself laughing like a teenager as cold water soaked through my clothes as we chased each other around the yard. When we finally stopped, breathless and drenched, we stood chest to chest. Through my soaked shirt, I felt every inch of him. Sarah, he whispered, and time stopped. He was going to kiss me, and I wanted him to more than anything. Then my phone rang. Tom's ringtone. We jumped apart, the spell broken. Tom's extending his trip another week, I told him after listening to the voicemail. How do you feel about that? Marcus asked quietly. I don't know, I whispered, though I did know. Relieved, terrified, alive. That evening on the porch, Marcus turned to me with serious eyes. I need to tell you something. I've had feelings for you since college, since that first Christmas, when you made me feel like I belong. I'm in love with you, Sarah. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. When's the last time your husband really saw you, made you feel extraordinary? His voice grew passionate. You deserve to be cherished, not taken for granted. He reached for my hand. Tell me to leave, and I'll pack my bags right now. I opened my mouth to say the safe words, the right words. Instead, I kissed him, soft at first, then desperate, as 25 years of loneliness broke open inside me. He kissed me like I was precious, like I was everything. I know this is crazy, I whispered, when we broke apart. Sometimes crazy is exactly what your soul needs, he replied. As we held each other in the darkness, I realized he was right. For the first time in decades, crazy felt like coming home. What would you do in Sarah's position? Choose safety or take the leap into love? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more stories about second chances and finding the courage to really live.